So, if you manage a Windows network, you know that feeling, right? You're about to push out a critical new security policy, but your environment is this giant, complex web of users, computers, and rules. How do you actually hit go with any confidence? Well, today, we're going to dig into the built-in tools that can turn all that guesswork into total certainty. I mean, think about it. You've got this huge Active Directory environment. You absolutely have to roll out a critical security setting. But with so many policies overlapping, maybe even conflicting, how can you be sure it's going to apply correctly to that one specific user on their particular machine? It's a high-stakes question, and it's one every sysadmin has to face. So here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start by framing the problem, what we're calling the group policy puzzle. Then we'll get into the fun part, prediction versus reality. We'll look at a tool that acts like a crystal ball and another one that's more like a detective showing up on the scene. By the end, you'll know exactly which tool to grab and when. At its heart, managing group policy really is like solving an incredibly intricate puzzle. Every group policy object, or GPO, is like a little rulebook, and it's a piece you have to fit perfectly into the bigger picture. If you get one piece wrong, well, a critical security setting might just fail to apply, or worse, you could accidentally lock people out of the very things they need to do their jobs. But here's the good news. You are not flying blind. You don't have to solve this puzzle in the dark. Microsoft actually built two incredibly powerful, though, let's be honest, often confused tools right into the Group Policy Management Console, the JPMC, to give you the exact clarity you need. And the absolute best way to understand these tools is to think of them as prediction versus reality. Simple as that. One of them lets you peer into the future, and the other gives you the cold, hard facts of what's happening right now. So let's meet them. Okay, so on one hand, we have group policy modeling. This is our crystal ball. It lets you simulate the impact of your GPOs without actually changing a single thing. On the other hand, we have group policy results, our detective's report. This tool goes out to a live machine and tells you exactly what policies were actually applied and why. See? Prediction versus reality. All right, let's start with our crystal ball. Group policy modeling is absolutely your go-to tool when you're planning and testing. It's all about answering that one crucial question. What if? What if I make this change? Now, the key word here, and you really got to remember this, is simulated. This tool doesn't touch your live computers at all. Instead, a service on your domain controller runs a pure simulation, calculating what's known as the resultant set of policy, or RSOP. Just think of it as the final list of settings that would apply in a totally hypothetical scenario that you get to create. And this is where its power really shines. You can ask all sorts of amazing what-if questions, like, what happens if I put this user in this super secure admin group? Or what if I move this laptop to the marketing department's OU? You can even test wacky scenarios, like what happens over a slow network connection, to see if some of your critical scripts might time out. And you can do all of this before you commit to anything. And the process itself, super simple. It's just a wizard. First, you just define your scenario. Pick a user, pick a computer. Then you get to play around and tweak things, like changing group memberships to test out your ideas. Finally, it spits out this detailed HTML report showing you exactly which policy settings would win and, this is the important part, which GPO they came from. Okay, but here is a really crucial point to remember. A little gotcha. The simulation runs on a domain controller, right? So it has zero knowledge of any local group policies that might be configured directly on the target machine. This is a huge reason why your simulation might sometimes look a little different from what actually happens in the real world. So, if modeling is all about the what if, how do we find out what is? What's actually happening? For that, we need our second tool, Group Policy Results. This is your detective, the one you send to the scene of the crime to gather hard evidence from a live machine. Unlike modeling, the results tool doesn't simulate a thing. It connects directly to a target computer, whether it's your own or one across the network, and it pulls the actual RSOP data that machine has processed. This isn't a prediction, this is ground truth. It's what you need for troubleshooting. So, what can our detective find? Well, it can investigate any computer you have remote access to, you can focus the report on a specific user who's logged in, and most importantly, the report will show you the winning GPO for every single setting. This is just priceless when you're trying to figure out why a user isn't getting the policy you think they should be getting. Oh, and for all you command line fans out there, you can get all the same info using the gpresult.exe tool. And the process is going to feel very familiar to modeling, but what's happening under the hood is completely different. You target a real computer and user. The wizard then queries that actual machine, and then you get that all-important report showing you exactly what's happening on the ground.
Okay, so we have our crystal ball for prediction and our detective for investigation. Now, let's put them side by side to make it absolutely clear when you should be using each one.
Let's just boil this all down. For purpose, modeling is all about proactive planning. Results is for reactive troubleshooting. The core question they answer is different too. Modeling asks, what if I do this? While results asks, what is actually happening right now? Their data source is the key difference. Modeling is a simulation on a server. Results is actual data from an endpoint. And that brings us to the most important rule of thumb. You use modeling before you deploy a change, and you use results after you've deployed it to verify it worked or, to fix a problem. So the huge takeaway here is that these tools aren't in competition with each other. They're partners. One is proactive, the other is reactive. Using them together, planning ahead with modeling and then verifying with results, that is the absolute key to managing a complex group policy environment without all the stress and guesswork. So the next time you're about to link a powerful new GPO, the choice is yours. Are you going to plan ahead and predict the outcome with your crystal ball, or are you going to roll the dice and just wait to call in the detective later? Master both, and you'll master group policy.